Hey, record-loving friends, this is Brian from Tokyorecordstyle. Today I am starting a new series based on something that I grew up with in the 90s. It was part of the Phish Newsletter, which was called the Doniac Schvice, which I think we've learned since is not exactly PC. Don't quote me on that, but Doniac Schvice might be something to do with Prussia, something to do with Jerusalem, something to do with I'm not sure what, old world Babylon. But for whatever reason, Doniac Schvice is
Hello?
But in the newsletter, it would give us the tour dates, news on the band, and there was a little section in it called Mike's Corner, named so for the bassist Mike Gordon, who is a self-admitted weirdo and who wrote this hilarious column, short little essays, and I managed to find them recently collected here for our reading enjoyment. So I thought I would take a little moment each week to read a little something from Mike's Corner, daunting literary snippets from Phish's bassist Mike Gordon. Some of them are written in high school. They're all a bit juvenile, but they're pretty off-kilter and fun. And if you love Phish and if you love Mike Gordon, you probably remember Mike's Corner and the Doniac Schvice, and you will probably enjoy these. So without further ado, let's get into it. Mike's Corner. In an effort to bridge the gap between the dream world and reality, Phish bassist Mike Gordon has been carving his daydreams into words since his high school days in Mr. Hooper's class. Until now, Gordon's absurdist send-ups, farcical rants, and surreal flights of fancy have been published only as Mike's Corner, a column in Doniac Schvice, Phish's newsletter. However, with the aid of modern technology, they have now been collected in a book and further embellished with strange yet tantalizing illustrations by Gordon and his sweet one, Priscilla. I wonder if Priscilla is still in the picture. This demented collection of 55 off-the-wall short stories is intended to cause the reader to see the world from a slightly warped and more electric parallax. But these offbeat, humorous stories will also give readers a better view into the truly unusual mind of Mike Gordon. Daunting literary snippets. Here's our hero, Mike Gordon. Notice the necklace around his neck resembles his face. This guy is a weirdo, very strange fellow. Okay, introduction. There I sat in engineering class, listening to my teacher say things like, "We apply the minority carrier diffusion equations to a steady state, forward-based function junction, PN junction, in the depletion region, considering the carrier concentrations and charge distribution," which is very important information to me, information which broadened me as a person. I was feeling so broad that I grabbed my little blue assignment notebook and penned some trash. Actually, my first stories were for Mr. Hooper's high school English class. He gave me a check if I had written something, and he didn't care what. He didn't read it, so thanks to Mr. Hooper, who encouraged my writing, despite its confusions of dialect. The first essay here is Johnald and the Amrope. As far as tykes go, Johnald was a wee bit irregular. For one thing, he had an amrope coming out of his head. You may be wondering, what is an amrope? I won't piss on you for wondering that. Actually, it's like an antenna, but it's got some mold on it. It's not something you buy at a store. Well, maybe you do buy it at a store. Johnald? Yelled Mrs. Amrope. "I'm combing my hair, leave me alone." "Oh, well, you're not going to comb that hair in the kitchen. I need to do it in here because the Amrope gets greasy, and the only way to clean it is with some of your cooking tools." "Johnald, don't use those tools for that. It's sick. By the way, I got us fair tickets. Let's go to it now." And they were off. Soon they found themselves on a merry-go-round. "It's my Amrope, don't make fun of me." At the fair later that day, someone else also made fun. The same thing happened at school. "No, you have to carry the denominator and place it behind the other number," said Mrs. Baby. "And take that thing off your head, Johnald, before I call Principal Ope." "I can't, it's built in." "Johnald, I want you out, now." Later in life, the same problems plagued Johnald, even at Thanksgiving dinners. "Could you pass the turkey?" "I don't think so. I am Johnald, Johnald with the Amrope, and I feel I deserve some turkey." We're kidding you, Johnald. You've aged, but I still kid you, and I still wonder about your moldy antenna. Who are you? Asked Johnald. I am Uncle Atlingberger. You never met Uncle Atlingberger? Asked Mrs. Amrope. Well, can't say I have, returned Johnald melancholically. Well, this has been a lesson to us all, said Uncle A. I think we have all learned the hard way, I might add, that it's not appropriate to make fun of someone's moldy antenna. Well, it seems that all's well that ends well, added Mrs. Amrope. I'm happy, exclaimed Johnald. Good, they all said in unison, and for the rest of their lives the whole family talked in unison only. It sounded odd as hell, but if one Amrope person talked, they all did. Well, I guess we're all doing fine, they all said in unison at future Thanksgiving dinners. And thus ended a bittersweet tale of woe. One guy born with an atrocity finds peace. The whole family, even Mrs. Baby, and old Uncle Atlingberger, they found peace too. What's more, it seems they learned a lesson. And it seems that lesson is a lesson that they will never forget. And it seems that if they do forget, that they won't forget for long. And it seems that if they do forget for long, then at least one of them, like maybe Uncle Atlingberger, won't forget. It seems that at least he would remember. If no one else remembers, then Mrs. Baby could. She's got a swift mind. It's a remembering mind. A mind that, as they say, doesn't forget. And it makes sense that it wouldn't forget. It's just a mind. It remembers. That's what it's for. And even if it forgot, there's other organs that, in some ways, have memory. Like now they say that a fist has a memory. The moral here is that various parts of the body can also have memory. And I don't mean just the fist. I mean really lots of stuff has memory. Different kinds of stuff can have memory. Stuff remembers. It remembers stuff. That's what it's for, remembering. Things are for something. And it all goes to show that some things are for remembering, not just anything. Things aren't just for anything. Things are for something. A thing is for a thing. It is a thing. Things are themselves. They equal one another. Thing equals thing. Okay, that is Johnald and the Amrope. Here is a picture of Johnald and his moldy antenna. So that concludes the first edition of Mike's Corner. I hope you enjoyed. There's 54 more essays to read from this. I'll be reading them in various fun, interesting places in Tokyo. If you're a fan of Phish, or you're a fan of Mike Gordon, or a fan of off-kilter, funny, weird writing, then follow along for my weekly editions of Mike's Corner. Very stoked to get this, his old column from the Doniac Schvice. Mike, you're a legend. Thanks for putting these together in a nice book for us to enjoy. Until next time, see you at the record store. Bye.